Hello, I'm Marletha, and on behalf of my research partner Armando, welcome to Snowden Chronicles. On this channel, we aren't just looking at names and dates on a page. We're digging deep into our own family roots, breathing life into our ancestors, and piecing together the puzzle of who we are. But we're also showing you how to do it, from decoding centuries-old court records and brick wall census data to capturing the priceless oral histories of our elders before they're lost. We're breaking down the exact investigative tools and strategies you need to uncover your own history. Because history isn't just something found in textbooks, it's in your bloodline. Subscribe to Snowden Chronicles, grab your magnifying glasses, and let's start hunting for the past together. If you've ever researched your family tree, you know the feeling of finding that one gold standard document, a birth certificate, a death certificate, a hand-signed marriage license. But what happens when history itself conspires to erase your ancestors? For my research partner Armando and me, this isn't a hypothetical question. It is the exact roadblock we face when looking for our great-great-grandmother, a woman named Prudence Morse. Born around 1813 in North Carolina, Prudence is a massive, captivating mystery in our family tree. We know she lived. We know she loved. And we know we're here today because of her. Yet, the traditional paper trail most genealogists rely on simply does not exist for her. Why? Because North Carolina did not mandate birth and death certificates until the early 20th century. And as far for her marriage license? First, in 1862, during the Civil War, the courthouse in Plymouth was completely leveled by federal bombing. Second, in 1869, during Reconstruction, a second fire gutted the temporary county facilities. And third, in 1881, a final devastating blaze ripped through the courthouse, turning every local marriage license filed before 1880 into ash. Prudence was caught in the crosshairs of this historical erasure. Today, we're going to break down the mystery of who Prudence Morse really was, the heartbreaking tragedy that befell her children, and the 3 remaining research angles we're using to help bring her story back into light. To understand Prudence, we have to look at the man she married, Malachi Morse. The timeline of their meeting raises some fascinating, complex questions. Let's rewind to the year 1830. Federal census records show that Malachi Morse was living in Camden County, North Carolina. But he wasn't alone. And he wasn't with Prudence. He was living with another wife and an entirely different family. From what we can deduce from the age brackets, Prudence was significantly younger than the first wife. Then we see a shift. In 1837, Malachi made a journey back to Virginia. Why? To renew his freedom papers, the legal documents proving he was a free man of color in a pre-Civil War society. And by the way, we're going to dedicate a whole separate video to how freedom papers worked, so make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss it. So when did Prudence enter the picture? Did they meet in the mid-1830s? And more importantly, how did they meet? This brings us to a heavy, profound possibility in our research. Was Prudence enslaved when Malachi met her? In Antebellum, North Carolina, the law was unyielding. For marriage to be recognized, both parties had to legally be free. If Malachi fell in love with an enslaved woman, they could not simply walk into a county office and register a marriage. There is a strong possibility that Malachi may have actually purchased Prudence with the sole intention of freeing her, just so they could legally wed and protect their future children. It was a practice born out of pure love, desperation, and survival that many free black men underwent to rescue the women they loved from the horrors of slavery. If this is true, Prudence's journey to freedom is a testament to our family's resilience. As we dig deeper into Prudence's world, we run into another fascinating figure who left a heavy footprint on our family tree. A woman named Lemon Bell Walker. We have to ask the question, was Lemon actually Prudence's biological sister? The circumstantial evidence is incredibly strong. Later in life, when Prudence and Malachi were no longer around, Lemon stepped up and became the legal guardian of their daughter Sarah. In the 19th century, guardianship almost always stayed strictly within the immediate family. But it gets even more compelling and confusing when we look at official documentation. Take a look at Sarah's death certificate, which was filed in the early 20th century. On this document, Lemon is named as Sarah's mother, and the father is listed as unknown. Now we know the informant who provided this information to the state was Sarah's own daughter, Josephine. Josephine would have gotten this information directly from her mother. Why would Sarah tell her daughter that Lemon was her mother? If Lemon was actually her biological aunt who stepped in to raise her after Prudence passed away, Sarah likely revered Lemon as her mother in every sense of the word. For Lemon's name to be passed down through generations like this is a powerful link suggesting she was Prudence's sister, bound by blood and a shared devotion to keeping Prudence's surviving child safe. By the time the 1870 federal census rolled around, the world of the Morse family had completely fractured. We are certain that Prudence passed away sometime before 1870, but she wasn't the only one gone. In 1870, the legal estates of both her husband, Malachi, and her son, William, were settled in court. The legal paperwork from that settlement explicitly named our direct ancestor, Sarah, as their only surviving heir. What happened to the rest of the family? Prudence and Malachi had a vibrant household. They had sons named Joseph, Isaac, and Wilsey. They had daughters named Betsy and a little girl named Prudence, named for her mother. Yet, by 1870, they were all completely missing from the local records, assumed deceased. We know the horrific fate of their son William. He fought in the Civil War, was captured, and tragically died as a prisoner of war in the notorious Andersonville prison camp in Georgia. The brutal conditions there claimed his life, leaving a wound on the family that history never fully healed. Did the rest of the children succumb to diseases and warfare that ravaged Washington County during the Civil War? Or is there a slim, hopeful chance that they escaped? During the Civil War, Roanoke Island became a famous safe haven. It was home to a massive freedmen's colony under Union control, where thousands of escaping and formerly enslaved African Americans fled to build schools, churches, and new lives. Is it possible some of Prudence's children were sent to Roanoke Island to escape the bombing of Plymouth? It is a theory we intend to actively investigate. In the aftermath of the Great War, only Sarah appears to have survived. Sarah went on to marry Colonel Snowden Sr., and Armand and I stand here today as their direct descendants. I'm descendant from their son John. Armando's descendant from their son Jesse. We are the living legacy of the family Prudence fought so hard to build. Even though the Washington County Courthouse burned down 3 times, we refuse to believe Prudence's story is completely lost. We are fighting back against the flames using 3 specific research angles. And if you're researching a burned county, you can use these exact same tactics. Our first step is online. We are researching Family Search's North Carolina County Marriage Collections and related browse-only images for any surviving trace of Malachi and Prudence's marriage bond, license, or associated packet. If the online trail runs dry, our next move may be an in-person research trip to Raleigh, North Carolina to work through the North Carolina State Archives, Washington County loose papers, and related county records. The hope is that even though the bound courthouse marriage books were destroyed, a stray bond copy, court reference, estate document, or loose filing may have survived outside the main record books. Because Malachi had to renew his freedom papers in 1837, we're tracing his steps into surrounding counties and state-level registries. If Prudence was a free woman of color, or if Malachi legally emancipated her, that transaction had to be recorded. We're expanding our search beyond Washington County into Camden County and the state archives to find any mention of the Morse name in free Negro registers. Another online search mechanism will be the Freedmen's Bureau collections, North Carolina field office records, and related browse-only images for any mention of Joseph, Isaac, Wellesley, Betsy, or young Prudence in connection with Roanoke Island. We're also checking surviving rosters, relief records, labor records, church references, military material, and naval or occupation era records tied to the Roanoke Island freedmen colony. If the online trail points us there, or if the records need to be examined in person, a research trip to Roanoke Island is a strong possibility. If any of Prudence's children fled the mainland during the chaos of the war, their names may still be waiting in the island's historical archives. Prudence Morse didn't leave us a diary. The government didn't preserve her marriage license, but she left us something much more durable. She left us her children, her resilience, and a legacy that survived the fires of war and time. Armando and I are determined to find her, one loose document at a time. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever hit a brick wall in a burned county? What creative workarounds did you use to find your ancestors? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to follow our journey as we hunt through the archives for Prudence's freedom papers, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. God bless. Thank you for watching, and keep hunting for your history. They are waiting to be found.